everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Woods Collab podcast. I'm here with
Keisha Woods.
And I'm Mike Woods, and we're the Woods Collab. Today, we're here to talk about self-care and balance. Self-care and balance. Keisha Woods.
Yes. I'm in trouble.
You look like you're ready. You're ready to balance.
I am.
So when you think about self-care and balance,
Yes.
what comes to mind for you?
Oh gosh, reclaiming my time is the first thing that came to mind when we talk about work life balance. Actually, I'm glad I said that because typically I call it balance, but I think that it's interesting to call out the term work life balance because I feel like that's something that people said and make sure you have work life balance, and it was preached and people talked about it until 2020. And your actual work was in your home for most people, right? And so figuring out like work-life balance and how do you split and separate the two became a lot more difficult to do because literally we're homeschooling and we're, on a break, we might need to go throw some rice on the stove, right? So all these things are happening and we're just trying to figure out life. And we find out that those things actually live in tandem and we can't just separate it out as this is the work me, this is the home me. I'm going to keep work at work and I'm going to keep home at home. What do you think?
It's true. And then some on the other side, like we turned into a heavily remote culture, more so. And then you also have others that their employment, their functions stayed the same, but they also had to interact with people that were more remote.
Yeah.
So sometimes you go to a store, it's like, okay, it may not be as many people at the store because not many people are working, or the same people that you're used to dealing with are now remote. So everybody was impacted in some fashion. Mm-hmm. But when I think about the self-care balance, that's essentially taking care of you and making sure all things are in order according to how it works best for you. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would look about it. Taking care of you, doing you, and make sure those things that you got to deal with are in order.
And I think that is where we are getting as a society with really understanding that self-care is not selfish. It's okay to take care of you, right? And
self-care is not selfish.
It is not selfish. And when you think about, we were on a plane not too long ago, and you think about being on an airplane and they talk about the oxygen mask. They always tell you to put on your oxygen mask before you can help somebody else. And that is the, how can I help someone else if I am not helping myself, if I'm neglecting myself and so forth. And so it is about you at the end of the day, because if you're not the best person that you can be, you're not going to be any good for anybody else. And so I think that getting to that point where we're accepting that, especially if we're natural givers and we want to make sure that everybody is good and we want to make sure that everyone has what they need and the support they need. Sometimes, if we think about the work example, sometimes we might take on an extra project despite the fact that we have too many projects, or maybe we skip lunch every day because we want to just get that one last thing done because we told someone that we would get it done. So when you think about like just your day-to-day work, all your responsibilities at home, like how do you juggle so that you feel that you're not running out of gas for the most part?
Yeah, I think it starts with, because of course we all have responsibilities, and it provides value if we can go into those and prioritize what we need to prioritize. Mm-hmm. So it could be, let's say for instance, if you're talking, let's talk about us. Mm-hmm. We record podcasts. We do that. And then right now I'm finishing up in school. We have things to do with family. We have to eat. We have to figure out time to exercise. We have to figure out time to do something. We might want to just go and look at a wall, or might want to go listen to some music.
Thing to do is look at a wall.
Listen to some music. Might want to catch up on a show. Now some might say, may not have time to catch up on that show. Mm-hmm. If that works for that individual, then do you. And what works for you.
Yeah.
So for me, I like you. I think we talked about this when we were getting ready to record. I like to at least have some time to self. So like even if it's watching this, I might, and you see me a lot, I might just be flicking the channels on the remote, and you might say, okay, you're not even watching anything. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Yeah. I'm enjoying my remote flickering. Mm-hmm. That's that downtime. That's that the me time. Mm-hmm. Taking time to yourself. So then other than that, those things that are more priority It's about being intentional about, okay, what's the thing that I have to do, and when do I have to do it?
Yeah.
And what else do I need to do for myself? So for me, if it's at taking 30 minutes to at the end of the day to wind down and say, hey, let me catch up and see what's going on with sports, see what's going on in the world, that sort of thing, I may need that. Now, would I be pleased that next day if I just went to bed? Probably so. But in that moment, self-care could be you just taking time to maybe unwind and watch your favorite TV show. But I think it all starts with, as much as possible, prioritizing those things that we have coming at us. It's like, do I need to go take our son somewhere? Do we have a commitment that we need to fulfill? Are we recording? Do I have some schoolwork that I need to do? Are there some emails from work that I need to catch up on that I committed to? So prioritizing those things, and then that prioritization, make sure that you also prioritize things for yourself, such as, hey, if I plan on working out, I'm okay to fit working out in there. If I planned on going to watch something on TV, it's okay to go watch that thing on TV. So prioritization is one method of going about that. What's your flow like?
I think that just knowing that it is okay to prioritize yourself, right? Because I think that, as a mom and a wife and a sister and daughter and all the things and all the roles that I play, sometimes it is, okay, what does MJ need? What do you need? What does the house need? And I'm thinking about everybody else. And then I'll say, okay, why am I exhausted? And I'm exhausted is because I've been pouring into everyone else. And we all know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So it's really about, okay, so how am I making sure that I am prioritizing the things that I need? For me personally, when I wake up in the morning, I can't just wake up, jump in the shower and work. That is not self-care for me. I have to start my day with prayer, exercise, breakfast. If anything is missing, prayer, exercise, or breakfast, I'm going to be a little bit out of balance. Sometimes I might miss that workout, but as long as I eat and I pray, I'm still good, right? But if I miss all three, I might as well just call in and just stay in the bed, because I'm not going to be able to produce and think and function the way that I need to function to be my full self. Another thing is just making sure that I'm checking in with myself mentally throughout the day. So I'll go throughout the day and I'll say, okay, Keisha, what do you need? What do you need right now? Right? Just like I would check on you and say, what do you need? Or I check on our son, what do you need? I'm checking on me. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to stretch. So I'll get up and stretch, right? Going back to self-awareness. Or I need water, or I need a snack, or I need to run some vent. I need to come vent to you, right? And so I'm just constantly asking myself that question so that I can stop in the moment, no matter what's being thrown at me, to regroup and to repair, right? Regroup and repair. Relax, relate, release. Do you remember that?
No.
No, okay.
What is it again?
Comment if you remember relax, relate, release. But you have to do that. Whitley said it on different world. But anyway.
No.
It's so true and it's so important. And so those are some of the things that I personally have to make sure that happens every single day so that I can be nice to people, right? Eating, I have to eat. I'm like a newborn baby. Every 2 hours, I got to eat. Making sure that I'm doing what I need so that I can be good to other people.
Good. That's self-awareness. I noticed you didn't mention coffee in there too.
Coffee, yes.
You didn't mention that. You don't like coffee.
I don't drink coffee. The rest of the world likes coffee.
But that's okay, because it's like, okay, knowing that that's not your thing, but that's my thing. I like to get up and I like to go have a cup of coffee. Just my thing.
Yeah.
I might even go to bed with a cup of coffee depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
If that's what I want for myself, that's fine. But it all goes back to, like you mentioned, knowing what works for you, being aware of how you are wired, making sure that you are fitting that in for yourself so that you can, like you said, be nice to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So with that, what are some other things? Let's talk about some other things as far as like the self-care and balancing life as it comes with us. Work, family, personal interests and personal goals and all those things, those hopes and desires and dreams, all those things as far as balancing life. What are some other things that we could do in order to really tap into that?
So I'm going to add two more things, mindfulness and just say no, right? So mindfulness is really about being present in the moment. So what I have found is that self-care for me is only focusing on the thing in front of me. When I start to think about every meeting I have for the day at 8 o'clock in the morning, that is not self-care. If I start to think about everything I have to tackle for the week on a Monday morning, that is not self-care. That is me becoming overwhelmed by all the things that I have to tackle and deal with and handle for the entire duration of that time period. Instead of being focused on, I am brushing my teeth. That is exactly what's happening today. I mean, in this moment, I am brushing my teeth. I am going to be involved, invested, and present in the fact that I am brushing my teeth. I am having breakfast. I am present and mindful about the fact that I'm having breakfast and really taking that time to be here instead of all over here and literally doing calculus in my mind as far as how I'm going to get every single thing done for the next 7 days. So that to me is honoring myself. And when I see that I'm starting to get overwhelmed and overthink everything that's to come, I take myself right back to what I'm experiencing current moment. And then just say no. Listen, sometimes people, friends, family, people at work, they're going to ask that you give that extra that you don't have. And it's about being strategic to think through, how can I say no? Because I understand that my mental health and my self-care is in jeopardy if I give this one last thing. I gave you 99%, this 1% is for me. I can't give you anything else. And so that could even be where some events you can't go to, but you might cash app that person. That might be, what are some other examples of things that you can't commit to because you have to recharge your battery? You have any other examples?
Yeah, it could be some type of event. It could be a task that you need to accomplish.
Yeah.
It could be someone maybe wanted to talk to you about some type of a business idea or some type of partnership. And maybe in that moment, I'm not in the space to have that conversation in the moment. It all depends on where you are. Now there's some times where you're gonna bend, but there's different moments where you're like, you know what? Nope. This moment right now, I'm focused on something else.
Yeah.
And that something else does not always have to be this grand initiative.
Yeah.
It could be the thing that I'm focusing on is like, hey, I'm gonna go jump rope.
Yep.
And that's the time
Mike
for you.
likes to jump rope.
I love it. Look, I'm challenging anybody out there to jump rope. And if you want that work, comment. Put your challenge public. You know. But it could be anything that you have going on for yourself. Anything, however that looks. But it's like prioritizing yourself. You know, like you said, is maybe you need to just say no, or maybe it's like, not right now.
Yeah.
And then you look at a different time you need to do it.
I like that because at the end of the day, like it might just be just having a conversation. I think sometimes we burden ourselves with thinking that someone is going to fall apart if we can't do this one thing. And they're just asking you, sometimes they're asking you and inviting you to some of the stuff out of obligation. They're like, yeah, Mike will be mad at me if I don't invite him, so I'm going to invite him. And then you're like beating yourself up if you can't go. And they're like, listen, I'm good.
Yeah, it was actually I'm not sure where I saw this at, but it was some type of meme, and it said something along the lines of like, hey, if you thinking about canceling plans at the last minute, it's okay.
It's
something
okay.
along the lines of, I don't mind staying in the bed. But it all depends. But again, you have to go back and prioritize yourself in the moment. Like there's times where we're gonna give. We're gonna give. We're gonna help others. We're gonna do those things. We're gonna be there for our loved ones. We're gonna be there. But there's also times where we're gonna be like, you know what? This is not the time. Just right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will find yourself in that constant flow of not doing the things that you've prioritized for yourself.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, I'm not prioritizing it. Sometimes you can wake up and you can feel exhausted. You can feel overwhelmed. You can feel like your mental health is in jeopardy. You can feel like, you just want to cry and you don't even understand why, because you haven't had that moment with yourself and your emotions and your physical needs to be able to give anything else, to do anything else. And so it's so important to listen to your body and listen to your emotions and really understand where you are so that you can be the best version that you can be for yourself and for other people.
Yeah, and that's good to make sure. So applying those things that we just mentioned is making sure that your, your cup stays full. But also we could be in moments where, you know what, we haven't been prioritizing the things and haven't been doing those things. So now we got to learn how to refill our cup, like how to refill our cup. So some things that we can do. Okay, hey, you know what? I've been doing all of this for quite some time. Maybe I need to start focusing more on self now. So that could be like first step for that. If that is you, it's okay. Take some time for yourself. We always talk about that self-awareness.
Yes.
Take
so important.
Take some time for yourself to say, what do I like? What are some things that I want to do for myself? Have you been thinking about jump roping? Maybe you need to go out and get you a jump rope.
Yes.
Maybe you need to go out and get you a jump rope. If you're old school, maybe go get you an extension cord and go make it happen. Do what you got to do. Maybe you know what? You just go outside and just start doing this with your hands and act like you jump rope until you get a jump rope. Thinking about old school mentality. We'll talk about where we came from back in the day, how you can improvise. But thinking about what you need for yourself. That could be a starter. It's like, hey, I haven't had a chance to do this in such a long time. What are those things? And what are some things that you can do in order to incorporate that back in your life? So if our cups are empty, what are some things that you would say? What's one thing you would say that somebody could do to, other than thinking about it, to start to like fill that cup back up?
I mean, I think it's just really a self-awareness, because the things that we have stated that work for us may not work for you, right? And so it's really about just having that moment and taking the time to even self-reflect and say to yourself, okay, so when do I feel my best? That's a good starting question. When do I feel my best? I feel my best when I'm fed, when I'm clothed, when I'm sheltered, whatever that looks like for you. And then what are some things you can do to make that happen? But also, how do you articulate it? So if for my husband, I know that he feels his best when he has that 30 minutes at the end of the night to decompress. I'm not going to bother him because he's already articulated that was a need for him. And so I get out of his space. I let him flick channels. I go do my thing. And so he's able to refill his cup. So you got to learn what it is. And you also have to learn how to articulate it. And that includes in the workplace, because saying no to things or having your needs stated in a workplace can feel like a taboo thing until you really understand how to state it, right? And so really just being clear on that so that you can start to take action, I would say, is what I would add.
I love it.
All right. So self-care is not selfish. Definitely find what it means to care for yourself, how to articulate it, and what does balance mean for you. So that is the Woods Collab podcast. This is a lot of fun. What do you think, Mike?
A lot of fun. I love it. Let's focus on self-care. Again, if you're about that jump rope challenge.
No.
Come for me in the comments.
Okay. Jump rope, hashtag jump rope challenge. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. This is the Woods Collab podcast.
All right, y'all.